Greetings, guys. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. Guys, share the video as you are joining. Tap the screen as you are joining us. This is about the continuity of what we had yesterday. We were talking about the DNA modification yesterday. How our DNA is being modified from the Tower of Babel and the introduction of a new way of modification of our life. So we talked about it and the impact it will have. So that's exactly what we're going to continue with. Because what we have right now is connected basically to what we talked about yesterday. We talked about GMOs, how it is going to affect our DNAs, our lifespan, and some certain organs in our body. So today we are talking about death itself, because death is an illusion. Death is an illusion. We do not really die. We do not really die, but because we are being indoctrinated on a daily basis, and the reason why we are being indoctrinated, it's all about power to control. Because when you are so scared that you are going to eventually die, you are so scared, therefore someone is somewhere there controlling you remotely, just because of how you were indoctrinated through the way you are taught in your education system, through the way you are taught in your religion system. So death is an illusion. We do not really die. Because even when we understand in the religious text that talks about not to be afraid of what will unalive the body, so it is an evidence, but we're going to touch on that, and we're going to actually reflect on that passage where it talked about something like that, because we know very well that death comes as the information comes through the indoctrination we receive as we were growing up, and we've been scared that we might die one day and we cease to exist, that we might die one day and we go to hellfire, that we might die one day and go to oblivion. So it is an illusion, guys. So we need to actually decipher, we need to actually unlearn, so that we will know how to stand, and we will know how to stand on our feet and defend what we are, and defend ourselves from the few individuals that are ruining our lives and representing us. And the representation is actually having a very negative impact in our lives. That's why it is important for us to understand that we do not die, because the concept that has, a concept that has been fascinated and perplexed, humanity for centuries. Maybe more than just the end of physical existence, because some believe that death is an illusion, which I also know that it is an illusion, because there are many things that will tell you that death is an illusion. A mere transition of soul from one state to another, that is death. A mere transition of soul from one state to another. Because this perspective suggests that the soul is immortal, continue to exist beyond the confines of the physical body that we possess. It's just like you having a vehicle today. When you have a vehicle, if you don't go into that vehicle, the vehicle will not drive itself. We're not talking about the updated technology that vehicle drives itself. We are talking about the reality of a vehicle and the relationship between your car and yourself. So if you own a vehicle right now, if you don't get into the vehicle and start the vehicle and start driving the vehicle as per the law of vehicle, movement, the vehicle will never move. So your body stands as a vehicle. If you are not into the body, the vehicle is as good as nothing. So that's why you being you as the dark matter, you do not die. And when we think about it, in a various religious and spiritual traditions, the idea of an immortal soul is central to understanding the nature of life and death. The belief that the soul transcends the body and lives on after death provides a solace to many facing the inevitability of mortality, because we are all immortal. We are all immortal because the reason why it is important for the malevolent, for us to die even before our time, or for the body to die even before the time, is because the more the body lives, the more the brain process or assess information, the more the brain seek for information, and that's why it is important for them to cut the body lifespan short. It doesn't matter whether they are cutting it short through the modification of what you consume as a food. Just like we talked about GMO yesterday. GMO has a lot of actually, things to do with cutting the life of the body short, because when the body is actually, removed, the information that comes with the body, which is your brain, is going to basically go with the body. As you come back, the indoctrination starts afresh. And that's exactly what makes us, vulnerable to other species. Because there are different types of species. Some of them were called God. Some of them are seeing themselves as God. And so many information that we have, some of us as human worship some of this malevolent in the name of worshiping God, without being cognizant of the fact that they are not God, because they are malevolent. If you understand some African traditions or spiritualism and culture, you will find within it where Africans are actually, referring to the devil living under the ground. They refer to the devil, the bad guy, living under the ground. So knowing that is an evidence to the fact that we have other creatures or other species of humankind that live somewhere beneath our ground, and understanding that those are the species that is ruling over us. And the only thing that those malevolent want is for us not to gather the information that we need to be independent and to survive and to be free from them. They are actually disconnecting us from our original source because they want to be in control of us. Because many people might believe that there are certain human beings who are superior or who are in control of every other human being, but they are not actually, they don't have the cognizant of the fact that this human being who you perceive to be superior, that they are actually not superior. They are being controlled and granted a little bit of knowledge of manipulation and knowledge of control. That's why it looks like they are controlling us today, but they are not really in control. Those malevolent that are living under our foot, underground, they are the ones controlling our lives. Then it is very important for them to make sure that we do not live long, because when you live long, you seek information. When you seek information, you transfer information. When you transfer information, just begin to imagine the time when you live like 1,000 years. You're going to know everything, including technology. You're going to understand, because now when you understand the age of Aquarius, 5 dimension, transcending beyond your realm to another dimension, understanding what we call a rapture, what we refer to as rapture today, is basically the age of renewal. The age of renewal. There is age of information, great awakening, which is where we are today, great awakening. Then there will be a pole shift, an age of renewal. So the malevolent does not want us to ascend to this time where we are going to have access to informations and data. And when we have access to information and data, imagine if we live long and sustain these informations and data that we have access to, we are automatically going to give it to the next generation that will sustain them, not to be controlled by any sort of power or influence. So that's important to them. That's why they always remind us that we are going to die. That's why there are many sicknesses that is all over the place against the body. Because the malevolent, once they take away the body, there is possibilities that in your next regeneration, you might not actually remember what's going on. Just like we are struggling to remember today what we are, where we come from, and how did we get here. And now you understand, in some certain tradition or African tradition, the cradle of human civilization, you will understand that they used to make use of artifacts to keep memories alive, to keep history alive. That's why during the time of colonialism, it was important for the malevolent to take away all those things that will give you a sense of nostalgia, that will remind you of whom you were before. Because we do not die. We just need to look at something, have the sense of nostalgia, remember whom we are and what we do best. So the malevolent does not want us to do so. In various religious and spiritual traditions, the idea of immortal soul is central to understanding the nature of life and death. The belief that the soul transcends the body and lives on after death provides a solace to many facing the inevitable of mortality. The notion that the soul is immortal implies that death is not the end, but a gateway to another realm of state of being. Now we go, let's actually extend this to, to what as a Christian belief, because church did a lot to us. The malevolent started in church. If we must know, that's why you cannot actually attribute some other so-called religious book to religion, because they are not religious books. Somehow those books have their own, they have their own laws, but it cannot be, equated or attributed to religion. Because if we go into the book text, which as Bible, as a sacred and revered text, a sacred text, which many, or millions of people today in our world, actually believe in. It offers an insight into the nature of soul and the afterlife. But the problem there is that the Christians themselves, who actually took over this book and call it Christian book, does not believe in this, because the church cannot teach them the way they will understand it, because the church want to indoctrinate them with fear of everything, because the church has never told the truth. That's why when we read some certain passage in this book, you are on your own, because they will turn the teaching of it, or understanding of it, or context of it, they will decontextualize it. So that's why I am going to touch on that, a sacred text that is actually revered by millions around the world. Now let's go to the book of Matthew 10:28. It is written, "Do not be afraid of those who kills the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and the body in hell." This passage suggests that the soul is eternal and can endure beyond physical death, potentially being allocated to another body in the cycle of rebirth. In the cycle of rebirth. That means that we do not die. That suggests that when we are praying to the ancestors, we are not praying to those who were dead. You are trying to tap to the memories of you in the past to remember. But that actually is what we have decontextualized. Those who pray to the ancestors, they are trying to reconnect themselves to their origin. That's why they are saying we pray to our ancestors, we don't pray to any other thing, because they understand that knowledge of the ancestors holds a lot of power that will help you to navigate the problems and the challenges that is in front of you today. That's why some of them pray to ancestors, even though they do not really understand what is these ancestors all about. It is a memory. It is not the dead, because they do not die. Do not be afraid of those who will unalive the body. Rather be afraid of that who will unalive the body and destroy the soul in hell. Now, when we now try to talk about the concept of hell, the concept of hell often depicted as a place of punishment. Now, in some religious, some traditional belief or spiritual belief, you will understand that hell may be viewed as an illusion of earthly suffering. It is basically an illusion of earthly suffering. That's what we are all into. The only people who are actually going to, if you want to bring them to the concept of heaven or concept of, paradise, are those who rule over us. Those who rule over us, those who have freedom, those who can do whatever they want to do, those who can make a decision on your behalf, those who can unalive whoever they want to unalive, those who can cause war anywhere they want to cause war. Those are the people who you refer to as those in heaven, those who have, privilege that some do not have. Those are the people you refer to as people who are in heaven, because heaven and hell is actually within our realm. It is just up to you to understand that when we talk about this heaven, talk about this hell, it is an illusion. because it is of the earthly suffering. It is of our planet suffering. Because, of course, some may actually interpret hell as symbolic or as a state of separation from the divine or consequences of actions, of one actions and choices, than a literal place of eternal damnation. It is not a place of eternal damnation. It is indeed what we are going through right now. We've been in hell from the time of this Anunnaki's intervention in our lives. They've placed us in hell. They've placed us in hell because that was not the plan of the creator of all for us. The plan is that we go in there, have freedom, dominate, take over, control everything that is within our realm, and become the God of our realm. But some malevolent came from somewhere, which, of course, their story of arrival does not make sense, because if you think about their arrival, they say they fall from heaven to earth, or they came from heaven to earth. You will be wondering, where is heaven? Where is earth? Why is every other, space called heaven? Anything that is out of our planet called heaven, which is not supposed to be the case, because we can make our planet heaven if we want. We can still make our planet a heaven if we want. The only thing that makes our planet heaven is the unity and understanding what is called the quantum entanglement and the interconnectedness of all creation. That's the only thing that makes our planet heaven. Where there is peace, harmony. Good evening, Ebony Black. Good evening. Thank you. Welcome. So that's exactly what will make our planet heaven. But the malevolent does not want us to have our planet called heaven, because if we have our planet called heaven and we, release a vibration, it scares them. They know that we can actually understand fully our position in this planet or in this realm, because the Galactic Federation that we hear about today, which some of you might heard that it is actually a theory, not something that existed or exists, which is not a theory, it is something that exists. Galactic Federation, they are mostly those who control everything within the galaxy, within the planetary system. They are in charge, just like we have some big countries in this world in charge. They represent us within the galactic space. Just like you have secret societies that are called Illuminati, those are people who represent planet Earth within the Galactic Federation. Do you really think that these people are going to represent us positively, or in a way it is going to favor us? Because within the Galactic Federation, they are seen as, human is actually seen as a less creature that need to be dominated, need to be controlled, need to be indoctrinated. They did it through church from the Council of Nicaea. That's why you find that church did a lot of indoctrinations and lie against humanity. But many might not actually believe or understand it in that regard. And that's what indoctrination does. And you will, of course, you will understand that when you tell some of them the truth, they will see you as anti their God. But that's not actually the truth, because indoctrination can destroy our minds and our sense of humor, or even our frontal lobe, because what they are able to do is to make sure that our pineal gland does not, is not activated. Because if your pineal gland is activated, you will understand your purpose. You will see beyond this, physical realm, and transcend beyond this traditional education system that we are going through. Okay, somebody in the comment section say, what are you saying is what our ancestors tried in vain to make the white settlers understand us. I really cannot actually, figure out what you're trying to say, but you say, what are you saying is what our ancestors try in vain to make the white settlers understand us. I think you may, if you can, rewrite something that I can understand. So if our pineal gland is actually activated, we will be able to see beyond the indoctrination of the church, because the church was able, during the time of Council of Nicaea, the church was able to destroy everything that leads us to remember whom we are, because we've done it several times. Even the book that the church claim it is their book, that contradicts every activities of the church. The book talks about regeneration, which suggests the cycle of rebirth, So if that book talks about the cycle of rebirth, you will know that it talks about you do not die. You just keep on doing it. It is just like you wake up in the morning, go to your 9 to 5, or go to your, do the same thing you do to make money. Every day you wake up in the morning, you do it the same way, the same time you wake up, the same time you leave your house, the same time you arrive at the office, the same time you do it constantly the same way. So that's the same way that if your body is actually, removed, there is time period of renewal and the cycle of rebirth. Now, I have actually, understood that a baby that is in the belly does not have a soul in the belly. Does not have a soul in the belly. But I've been trying to, relay this type of message, but it's not for everyone's understanding, because if you just throw it out there, people will be super confused. But people need to understand exactly what is the cycle of rebirth. What is the cycle of rebirth? And then people need to understand their purpose in life. And if we can transcend beyond this indoctrination, and if we can understand that everything that has been given to us was not given to us accurately, naturally, the way it is presented naturally, because the malevolent is working against the order of nature at any given point. It is working against the order of nature. I don't know if I should call them it or he or she, but they are malevolent. Those that some people in Africa believe that they are the devil living under the ground. They are all around us. They make decisions for us because we are less creature, and then we must be controlled. That's for us not to explore. Imagine in a situation where somebody will tell you you should not ask question. You should not ask God question. Why can't you ask God question if God exists? If God exists, you have to ask question to find out about this God, because you cannot continue to believe, I heard about God, therefore I have to believe and not ask question. That's bullshit. There's nothing like that. If you ask question, it means that you want to know more. So we must begin to ask question, then we will know more. But the indoctrination suggests that you do not question God, you do not ask him question, you continue to move on. Anything that is presented the way it is presented in the book, carry on with it, no question asked, because you cannot question God. Where is that God? How can he create us and we cannot ask question? You ask your dad and your parents question the same way these new generation children are curious. They are eager beavers. They want to know more. So that's exactly the same way all of us, deserve to know more. Therefore, we will, from doing so, we will know a way to follow. And who is this God? Because there are gods. Indoctrination told us that when we write it in capital letter, it represents our God, which is bullshit. It doesn't make sense. Capital or small letter, all of them ends with God, but it is important for us to continue to do more research, because the indoctrination does not want us to know beyond what they made available through the mainstream. The church, the Council of Nicaea, the church. Now, when we come back to the concept of hell, which is often depicted as a place of punishment and purification in many religious traditions, it may be viewed as an illusion of earthly suffering, which, of course, we have actually talked about it. Some interpret hell as symbolically as a state of separation from divine or a consequences of one's action and choices, rather than literal place of eternal damnation. Now look at it. In our planet Earth, there is laws that governs the planet Earth, not the laws made by malevolent. The laws that governs the planet Earth is a laws that is actually fueled by dark matter. The law which is called the natural laws. It is a law of, people call it law of karma. People call it what goes around comes around, and that is the law. If you unalive someone's child, possibility that your child will be unalive at some point in life, where it is going to pain you the same way it pained the person you did it to. It doesn't matter whether it happened in your first life or in your second rebirth. It doesn't matter, but the truth of the matter is that it is going to happen to you. That is the law of nature. You can never cheat it. Now, the laws that we started seeing that goes against the order of nature, which actually started, introducing some certain behavior in human, race. It is the law coming from the malevolent, because some of these laws promote the, depopulation. Of course, when we talk about depopulation, it is talking about making sure that we do not live longer, our body do not live longer to access more information that will help human being to transcend beyond this traditional way or traditional indoctrination through education system or through any other thing. Just like we all know, in our education system, the decision was made by a few individuals that believe they are more intelligent than every other person, and they created something like arithmetics, multiplication process. They created numbers that can be manipulated. Then you do not have opinion towards this, their creation. Now you find out, you ask yourself, does it mean that these people are the only intelligent people that exist, that they have to create a system that you follow? Now when you begin to ask questions, you find out, you found people who actually who are initiated within the space or the confine of this introduction or the confine of this system, they will come and make you look stupid because they know their system more than you, and they will use the system to intimidate you, make you look stupid. Now, why do we, in our education system, for you to understand the level of indoctrination it is actually bringing to the, you will think about you speaking a different language, but when you go to school, you are forced to speak a particular language, which makes you educated and which makes you non-educated, which the language is mostly grammar. Now think about it. Does it make sense? If it does to you, make it make sense to me, because it does not make sense to me if a particular group of people can create something, enact a law, a system that can never be challenged. That means it is a system of indoctrination, a system, thank you, Miss J, that set us up for failure. That's why we must be dependent and serve this malevolent in the want and in the need of all things. And we continue to actually look for things that we cannot get. Why do we need to work 9 to 5 in order to, get food to eat when there is land available all over the place? When we can cultivate, we can actually plant our own food and eat it, instead of depending on someone to introduce seeds like GMOs that will not help your body to thrive, that is also going to work against the vibration of your brain. It is going to work against your immune system and some part of your, organs. So in this regard, you find out that the indoctrination has destroyed and damaged our sense of reasoning, our frontal lobe, that we cannot think out of the box to be free. And we don't ask question because you don't ask God question. Otherwise, you go to hellfire. That's why you find many people who begin to ask God question, they were all unalived, including the Jesus that we talk about. Because when we talk about Jesus' perspective, Jesus' consciousness, we don't understand that Jesus was the only person who began to challenge the, traditional phenomena and began to ask questions, began to introduce, teach people on how to respond and react to things. And that's why the church have to remove him. After removing him, they use him as the face of the church. So, they tell us Jesus came to die for our sins, using him as the face of the church, even though the church was the one who unalived him. Make it make sense to me. There are many there are many people who are unalive because they understood the law of nature, even in technology building. That's why that's why this guy called Howard Terrence, the guy he has a message that people does not want. Many people are actually challenging his his message without understanding how our world is positioned, that the malevolent, the message must come from them, and there will be no true message that will come from malevolent if you are not part of the malevolent. When you are delivering the message, it will come unfiltered. Howard Terrence delivers the message unfiltered. That's why they have to find a way to come after him, in a way to belittle him, to make him look stupid, and they continue to fight him. Of course, when you think about many things he said, there are no straight lines in nature. And when we talk about all these platonic solids and our inventions comes from that and all this, it affects our atmospheres. That's why there is global warming, because the type of technologies that the malevolent is introducing to human being is anti-nature. It's anti-nature. Because the malevolent want human race not to ever grow in spirit or grow in knowledge. They want you to depend on them. Just like the malevolent runs the show in our pharmaceutical, because the pharmaceutical wants your body to depend on them to, live on a day-to-day activities. They can introduce ailment, they can introduce many things that can harm the body, because the target is to continue to harm the body, because when the body is weak, it can die off, and then the memories goes with the body, because when you are reborn, the indoctrination starts from your parents, because the traditional way of raising children is the same way that you are going to raise children within the community that is indoctrinated. You follow the same path. By the time you are going to grow and seek knowledge or awakening, or the time of renewal, or getting to the 5th dimension, the age of Aquarius, the age of knowing, just like the book said in book of Daniel, shut the book 12 verse 4, knowledge shall always increase, but is the body going to be strong enough? Is the brain going to be vibrant enough to acquire this knowledge? Is it going to be able to be alive to spread this knowledge to the upcoming generation? So the malevolent cannot allow the body to live as far as possible to spread this gospel to the new generation, that they may carry it to the next generation. So the more you are actually going and coming back, you will have the same information. So this is actually the activities of malevolent. And let me, before we proceed, and then you wonder why our human race is in crisis. Yes, our human race is in crisis because there is a malevolent that has taken over the position of the creator of all. There is a malevolent that has cut human beings' connections with the creator by indoctrinating human beings to look for savior where there is no savior, by indoctrinating human beings to be dependent on a particular individual as a leader, when every human being is supposed to be a leader in their own space. So the indoctrination actually limits you from transcending beyond the traditional way, that you may continue to follow the traditional way. Make it make sense to yourself that you have a land to grow your food. Make it make sense to yourself that you can not. Why do we need fiat money? Why do you need fiat money in order to survive? Make it make sense to yourself that you are dependent on someone to actually introduce or tell you that this thing is eatable. It does not make sense. If we understand the importance of making use of the land, because if you read even in the religious, so-called religious book from the Old Testament, it talks about the inheritance. You continue with your inheritance. Inheritance was very important, that when you go, you must have a land. You cannot sell the land, which is your inheritance, because it gives you food. It feeds the generation. It is going to be passed on generation to generation, because that's where you feed from. But today, we don't understand the importance of inheritance. That's why we kick back. Some people sell them. Some people, their inheritance was taken away by force. And at the end of the day, how are you going to, cultivate food and, bring food that you are going to feed on? You have to depend on someone to create whatever food they want to create and sell it to you. It doesn't matter if it is healthy food or not. You don't have a choice because you cannot produce it. So if everyone can cultivate their vegetables, their fruits, their food, why do you need anybody to come and give you GMO, genetic modified organism, if we were actually having the cognizance of the fact that land is very important and the cultivation of land is very important, because the indoctrination took everyone away from that. Because in the olden days, even my own generation, we were still making use of the land and bringing forth food that we are going to eat. That's how we actually classify the rich and the poor. The people who have the biggest farm produce at the end of every season are called the rich. But today, it is classified by the people who have the biggest or the highest amount of fiat money are seen to be the rich, which turning everything that is going to be against the order of the nature. They're turning everything upside down, including your map, including the, our earth. They actually, redesigned our earth so that you don't see anything that can trigger your, they can give you the sense of nostalgia to remember. On a daily basis, everything is actually being changed that you will never remember. Because if we actually remember, no one is going to be the master. You will be the master of your life. You will understand the importance of life, and you will never think about unaliving another person. The world will be a better place, but because there is a master, there is a slave, and the slave goes into survival mode, they can do anything or everything possible to access fiat money, which is ruining our world the more. So as long as there is still master-slave relationship, there will be no peace in our planet's Earth. Just like we understand that an angry and hungry man is an angry man. They can do anything to survive. So when we actually transcend beyond this survival mode and be free as human, we don't need approval from anyone to live. You don't need to be slave of anyone. You don't even need to work 9 to 5. It is just for us to be free. Because all this system that is enacted, one way or the other, has been enacted by the malevolent. Nobody else. Nobody else. It is the bad guy that is creating all the system. But in this perspective, we are talking about death is an illusion. Death is not the end, but a transformation of consciousness. The physical body may perish, but the soul lives on, carrying the essence of a person's being through time and space. Memory loss and earthly suffering may fade away, but the soul endures, perhaps finding new vessels in which to experience life and growth. Our soul is a dark matter. It is invincible. You cannot see it. You cannot harm it. That's why you find people do astral projection, because that is called a soul travel, and it comes as a result of a simple exercise. You train your soul not to be scared because nothing can harm it. That's actually, the concept of astral projection, or OBE, out of body experience. because nothing can harm it. The only thing that can be harmed is that body that you are leaving behind with your silver cord. That's exactly the only thing that can be harmed. So that's why we need to understand. Someone is asking me about babies. So tell us about the unborn babies' souls, please. I think before we get into that, it will be when we understand exactly our purpose. We will talk about it. But for now, you should know that the babies in the belly does not have a soul. So it is very, very important that we know that we do not die. We do not die. What dies is our engine, our body. Once the body die off, you are going to your soul is actually preserved by nature. Your soul can transcend, your soul can explore, your soul can do many things before it will be allocated in the cycle of rebirth. The concept of death is an illusion that brings about fear. Fear. And when you are fearful, when you are actually scared, you are submissive. You are submissive. Miss J is quite curious. Your body can be allocated, that is cycle of rebirth. Your body can be allocated to another body and the indoctrination starts. That's why you will not remember anymore. If we live within the order of nature, you will find out people, if you eventually die, coming back through the cycle of rebirth. Your Christian book, so-called Christian book, call it regeneration. You are going to remember. But because everything is being turned upside down and we are actually created naturally, so we must see things the way it is naturally for us to function properly. So that's why it's important for the malevolent to continuously turn and change everything and bring new laws that is against the order of the nature. That's why you find out that every nation leader is one way or the other connected to a secret organization called Illuminati. One way or another, they might not know what they serve, they might not know, but they're one way or the other connected to that one secret organization that represent us in the galactic, Federation of Light. So they are connected to that. They make laws, they bring to us. It is just like if we want to actually talk about people who are, ruling over us. Those who rule over us must be, some of them must be puppets to something. And you must rule in a certain way. That's why we are not free as human race. We were disconnected from our star system. We were disconnected from our stars because if you understand the importance of connection with your star, you will know that all this, when we talk about the stars, we talk about Leo, Scorpio, Virgo, Aquarius. Those are stars. It's our connection. So we were disconnected from our stars. So we are disconnected basically from our source. And if activation of our pineal gland can help us actually to improve. But the pineal gland cannot be activated because what we consume is actually not going to help it to be activated. The pineal gland shut down because of indoctrination. And the indoctrinations that actually affected our pineal gland mostly is indoctrination of religion. Indoctrination coming from religion, those are the things that shut our consciousness down and limit us from seeking information whilst we can find the information. Today, the reason why we have access to social media is because there is a time that there is a way that the creator of all, which works with nature, a time to live, or a time to be above and a time to be below, a time of birth, a time of death, which brings about renewal. Christian beliefs, they call it the time of renewal, they call it rapture. There will be a lot of chaos before renewal comes. That's why we are expecting Armageddon. Armageddon, of course, it might not be necessarily the way we anticipate, but it is happening. It is happening. And secondly, there is a lot of things that is going to scare us, but we should stand our ground in order to overcome. Humans must understand that they were created to be superior to every other thing. But every other thing becomes superior today over human because we've been disconnected from the source. So we are like a sheep without a shepherd, a sheep that is handed over to those who prey on us to be our shepherd. Like they make the rules and the laws, they prey on us whenever they want, however they want. They tell us what they want us to hear, not what we deserve to hear or what we're supposed to know. And at the end of the day, it continues to make us less creature. But I'm so happy that information is now being made available, but people need to understand that most of the movies we watch carries informations that we need that can help us to transcend, especially TV series. They carry a lot of informations, but they present the movies in a way that when we start talking about the informations, the next person will think that you watch too much movies, so that you don't understand that movie is an information that is going to come past you, that you need to grab and make use of. So you will think, no, this is a movie, it doesn't exist, it's not in a real life. Then you will laugh it out and say, nah, you watch too much movies, without you knowing that this is information that you need. So they show us signs of our futures through movie. The reason why, if there will be a time travel machine today, I wouldn't hesitate to go back in time because I want to remember everything. I want to remember everything. If there will be time traveling machine, because if we understand what's going on today, you see, our clock is going right, but natural clock goes left. natural clock goes left. Just like our planet system or our Earth is being changed from its original shape and brought to us as something else. And our planet Earth is being analyzed in a wrong way. The map thereof is upside down. So it is just everything done by malevolence so that we cannot connect back to the nature. And when we connect back to the nature, we connect back to our creator, our source. And we reject nature, we accept secondary. That's why the last time we were talking about black being the primordial state of creation. Black being the primordial state of creation, which is part of the source. Darkness. So we were taught to actually kick against, natural phenomena and, embrace things that are artificial or artificially made. Those are the things malevolent makes available for us. The technology is hurting us. It's affecting us. The technology that we are using is affecting us. It's affecting the lifestyle, the lifespan. That's why there was a map I was actually showing yesterday. If I can actually bring back this map to show you exactly many informations that is actually being made available in this map. And there is this information there are some past informations, the things that has happened before and the things that are actually going to happen and the things that are actually in front of us, which let me show you the ones that are actually in our present. The one that is in our present, the malevolent is actually doing all it can to make sure that we continue to be here, the population, because the more they are fighting the body, the more they are fighting the knowledge. Now, if you understand that the last thing we faced, the last challenges the world faced was targeted at the older generation, because of course the older you live, the more possibilities for you to transcend beyond this indoctrination by accessing information. Remember that if our DNA was not modified, because everything is being modified, our weather is being modified. That's why we have false precipitation and we have geostorm and hurricanes, and we are having abnormal weather because there is modification in our weather pattern through many ways. You can modify the weather pattern, exposing chemicals to the jet stream, dumping chemicals into the ocean, because all this nature is actually connected to itself. There is interconnectedness. The nature is connected to itself. There is connection between the rain. There is connection between the sunlight, the rain, the ocean. They are all connected to each other. So now this is what they are working hard, because in 20th century they gave us this, and the reason why they will continue to do this is to slow down the cycle of rebirth, to make sure that it is slowed. They are slowing it down. They gave us this in 20th century. This AIDS. They gave us this. In In 21st century also, they gave us this. But this was what moving so fast. Is moving so fast. So they have to bring a remedy, and everything they are giving us or they are doing to work against us, they benefit from that. They will always benefit from that. Think about it. This happened, the pharmaceutical benefited, this happened, pharmaceuticals still benefiting from that, but this one now, they have benefited enough. If you find out that anything that want to remove this from existence was actually stopped one way or the other, they were stopped. Yes, Miss J, NASA was actually, the real malevolent and the real indoctrinator. All these things started with, with the church. The church, because if we go to Vatican City, we will find a lot of information that will actually help us to navigate life. Vatican City, there is a lot of information and documents that are there, that are actually hidden there, that will help us to navigate whom we are and our purpose in life. So they have to introduce this that will continue to make sure that it suppress our birth, people, the cycle of rebirth. 8. When they see population grows, they introduce something that will kill in millions, that will unalive in millions, things like this. And it is always targeted at melanated people first, because melanated people are basically, they are they have more, birth, or will I say they reprocreate faster and more. So Ebola came, it actually unalived many. Today, they have found a new way of introducing these things that we may actually harm ourselves voluntarily without us actually knowing, which is through this. It is through this one we harm ourselves without us knowing exactly that we are harming ourselves. And for them to promote this, they have to introduce this. I hope you are seeing what I'm showing. There is this. For them to promote this, they have to introduce this. And this one, you see here, it's connected to this. It's connected to this. Check where it come from. It came from here, going here. It's connected to this. The game here, you see this game. This game is all about who is going to lead when the malevolent, who is malevolent, is going to use to lead the world. And they will always favor those who are brutal, who are wicked, who does not have emotions. That's why these people, the malevolent, look at the malevolent here, they are called this. You see, that's why this actually initiate or will consciousness transfer is done to people who are susceptible to their manipulations, and for them to use you, you must have blue or green eyes. Now, the Draco Reptilian is the malevolent. The Anunnakis, they are all connected. So these are the things that are controlling our world today. So their primary agenda today is depopulation. to make sure that human race is actually delay. They must delay them from the cycle of rebirth so that indoctrination will not go away. Because if you have, excessive, rebirth, it will eventually bring you to the age of awakening. And when there is excessive birth, there are younger generation, and they are exposed to the time of awakening, the age of Aquarius, and the 5th dimension. It means that they are not going to be indoctrinated, because they will question everything and they will protest and kick back against what they do not want. So when there is a birth control, it will always keep the new generation indoctrinated, because there will be no older generation that will tell them how it all began or their purpose. So that's why everything this is creating is targeting to depopulate. Depopulation starts with, look at this. They make billions and trillions of dollars from making sure that people, when these things happen, when things like this happen, they will benefit. When things like this are introduced, they will benefit. Everything that I'm showing you right now, I want you to also go to your, do your own independent research. And I'm just bringing your mind to it. Do your independent research. If you can write it down, or if you can screenshot what I'm showing you right now, screenshot it, do your own research, look at them, look at the names, do your own research, even though some of them might be, they will say it's a fiction, but there is nothing like a fiction. Let me, give you an example. I want you to know that every story written, there is nothing like fiction. There is nothing like fiction. Everything, if you are a story writer, every story that you are going to write comes from a trigger point. There is something, a situation, there is an event that actually created that story. Of course, there will be things that you will add to the story that will make it longer and make it sound interesting. So that's why, there are people who are called the fiction writers, but if you go through the minds of these fiction writers, you will find out there is a real stories, real events that actually trigger that story that they have written. So that's one thing you should understand. Malevolent will tell you that it is fiction, not fact, or it is not scientifically proven, because what they basically used to get away this time around is to tell you that it is not scientifically proven. Even though you will see a fact right in front of your face, they will tell you it is not scientifically proven. There is no such thing. It is just malevolent power of control. That's exactly what we see all the time. So everything that affects us, whatever that affects us, like this and this special virus cancer program, this benefit. So they benefit from that. Now the real thing, you see, look at this. This is actually in our present. I hope you are seeing it very well, what I am pointing to you. This is in our present. They have benefited from this a lot. Now, Agenda 21 is as a result of this card game that is being played. Now, Agenda 21, climate change, is as a result of weather warfare. Look at that. Weather warfare. Now, weather warfare, take it back, Agenda 21, under its climate change. Now, when this is happening, this is going to sell fast. And when this is selling fast, your DNA modification is in progress. Your lifespan being cut short is in progress. In the 19th century, our lifespan was 120. 20th century, in fact, before in the first century, our lifespan is actually 600, 800, 900 years. To an extent, 1,000 years. It continued to be modified because the malevolent, they live long. They do not just die. They live longer. They can live for thousands of years. So they know that if we live 1,000 years, we don't need them anymore. We don't need their technology. We will figure out everything on our own. So in the first centuries, we live longer. Second century, it is continued to be cut short because it's an experiment. Let's see what they can have in the next 1,000 years. They see it, they say, let's just cut it off because they are actually improving so fast. Now, cut it to the 600. The book will tell you, is it Methuselah lived for how many years? Is it 900 years? But that's actually the clue to tell you that you could live for 1,000 years. Now, at the end of the day, up to 19th century, we still have up to 125, 130, or 120 years. 21st century is 80. That's where we are, 80. Now, this is preparing the next generation of 22nd century, which is 201, 22nd century upcoming. This is going to have impact on your posterity more than you, because you as a person, there are some people who stays in rural communities who might not be affected by this. They will still live and they will never be affected by any one of these things because they still live up to 120. But the rich, the so-called rich who are uninformed, are going to live the age of 60. Their children will only live for the until the age of 60, because that's the lifespan that this is going to bring. 55, 60. Those age that was targeted in the last challenges that we faced in 2019, 2020, 2023. So those age is what this is going to bring to us. That is the lifespan. 60. We had 80. We are on 80 right now. This is going to bring 55, 60. Because each and every century, there must be something that will continue to cut short our lifespan. And it continued to be a new normal. We continue to find a way to navigate and adapt, because we don't have to ask God question. But it is important for us to ask God question, because who are those God that they tell us about? Who are those God that we think they are? The God that disconnects us from the source. The God that hides information of what our purpose is. The God that actually prevents us from knowing. Those are the God that they tell us not to ask question. The question is, where is the source? How do we connect to the source? And it is quite a very simple but impossible. Very simple, but impossible. The only way to connect back to the source, because we cannot do it independently, is through love and unification. All this violent hatred, all these things, put it behind, come together, unify yourselves. It doesn't matter if you are still going to be racist to yourselves, continue, unify yourself within your race, make it a place where you can actually, have love within a community, within a country. No one need to unalive no one. No one need to hate no one. It doesn't matter whether you are racist. Go to your race, unify yourself within your race. So unify yourself within your race, and let there be love within communities, within countries. All these premonitions, they are witchcraft, they are the problem. It is as a result of oppression. Oppression did a lot to us. The reason why I actually talk about race, going to their race, unifying yourself within your race, it's about there is a lot of things this thing has done. There is a lot of things they did to human race. They did a lot to human race. So it should start from there. When you understand the importance of love from your community, you extend it to your country, you extend it to your continent. That's exactly how it will work. Once we extend this, once we actually bring this love and see everybody as equal, no one is superior to other, and you must know that everyone deserves to live. The vibration of love is actually going to destroy every indoctrination, because when you are actually in a particular community with love, information will be passed through. Any information that is going to help one another, that is discovered, it will be shared amongst one another, and the solution to a particular problem will come in. And once love comes in, vibration comes out that will connect us back to the source. Other than that, that's why I say that the solution to our problem is quite simple, but impossible. I don't know if I should say impossible, but it is quite simple, but impossible. As long as a brother will continue to shed the blood of another brother, as long as a brother will continue to unalive brother, there will never be peace. You are giving power back to the dragon. You continue to give power to the dragon, and dragon continue to rule over you, because the plan of the dragon is there must be chaos among humans, and that's why dragon introduce certain technology that will make humans see themselves as invincible, and from there they are looking for problems at every given moment, unaliving people as if they are God, because they believe they are God, because it's only God that has power to create, power to to take. So that's the only solution to solve this conundrum that we have found ourselves, which is depopulation, because depopulation reduces our ability to know more. It does not just unalive the body. It reduces the ability for us to know more. Because once the body goes, it goes with the memory. It goes with everything that you have known before. So you have to start now afresh. Maybe you are born into a family that will continue to indoctrinate you. So it is starting afresh. So that's why they must introduce this. It is not because they want you to continue to honor life. They make profit, and the profit they make, they use it, they reinvest in order to have power of control over every other thing. Power of control over every other thing. So they have to make money. For the sake of those Galactic Federation of Light, let me show you where all these things, extraterrestrial, the grays, now you see Draco reptilians, who are the ones, these ones, they are very good in indoctrination and preventing human from knowing. Make a research about them, and these are the star systems, Sorian and Orion, and you find out that in the zodiac sign of every human, I don't think there is any star that calls Sorian or Orion. We know Leo, we know Aquarius, we know Scorpio, we know etc. Yeah, but we know that Orion is not there. So now the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth. And now when we talk about how did they come from heaven to earth, because according to the origin of mechanic, according to the origin of analog computer, the firmament is a dome that impenetrable. It's a dome that cannot be penetrated. According to this, let me show you what that is. It is actually, according to this, look at this very well. One moment. Look at this very well, and you would see. So according to this device, the firmament is a dome, which this represents the firmament in this device. This represents the firmament, and according to this device, you'll find things that moves. I want you to look at this and see what things that moves. This actually is a topic for another day, but I just wanted to actually reflect on it, so that when we talk about maybe tomorrow the same time, we might be, or not the same time, we might be talking earlier, we might be talking about the planet system, our planet, which actually the reason why we come in this side is to actually determine those who came from heaven to earth. Because when they talk about those who came from heaven to earth here, because that's what they call these Anunnakis, those who came from heaven to earth. There is no such thing as heaven to earth. They're not coming from heaven. They just come from another planet called Nibiru, which our not traditional education system cannot tell us about, because we talk about Uranus, Saturn, Pluto, and all that. So this is a dome. This is the first analog computer, according to the history of it. It is called Antikythera. Now this is the Earth dome. This is the moon. Look at the position of the moon within our firmament. Look at the position of the moon within our firmament, and the sun is quite in front of you here. Now If this is the dome, that means it is impenetrable or impenetrable. This is the dome. Look at it. That's what it represents. Now you find out that the reason why you see all these things like clock hands, all these clock hands you see here, suggests that the planet Earth is stationary. It is not spinning. Now we are told that it is spinning. Why? Indoctrination, or maybe the people who presents that to us does not know. But I don't think they do not know, because everything they're telling us is upside down, including our clock. Our clock is going anti-clockwise. The real clockwise is going this way. It's going towards the left. That is the natural clockwise. So this is our firmament. This is our moon. Now you understand that the moon, there is a dark side of the moon, there is a light side of the moon. Now you find out that our moon is here. This is the sun. This is the sun. Now look at every other planet. Look at the planet systems. Because within the wave conjugation, within the Milky Way, within the Milky Way, let me show you something. We are going to analyze this more. We're going to analyze it more if we come back to it tomorrow. We're going to join back to it tomorrow. Let's go back to the Milky Way. So that there is something I want us to understand in order to question the validity of those who came from heaven to earth. Because reading the book of the Sumerian, tablet, you will understand that there was an asteroid that they have to break while coming from heaven to earth, and they landed in the southern Africa. So I just want to bring to you the Milky Way galaxy that they showed us, so that we will navigate it a little bit, because all those things we must decipher if we are going to learn, if we are going to know, because it is only when you decipher then you know. So let's find the Milky Galaxy image. We've talked about the Stargate, and we're going to come back to the Stargate. Maybe if we are coming back tomorrow here, we're going to reflect on the Stargate. Let's use this. We're going to use this as the Milky Way. Look at our Milky Way, because there is something I want us to actually understand here. Now look at the Milky Way. Look at this. If you look properly on to the Milky Way, you will see this in our Milky Way. You will see that there is no difference between this and our Milky Way. The only difference here is that they place the sun in the middle of our Milky Way. Why? When the moon is actually a little bit above the sun, why is the sun placed in the middle of our Milky Way? Because the earth is supposed to be in the middle of the Milky Way. Look at this. Look at the Milky Way. Now you see the color changes when it extends to other planets. The color changes. Look at the blue. You extend here, it's another planet. You go more to this side, it's another planet. You go here, it's another planet. You go here, it's another planet. And now each time each time you see this wave actually moving away into another planet, it creates a gateway to that planet. There is always a gateway as the wave is circling, because there is interconnectedness of everything, just like we have in our flower of life. So each time this wave is actually moving away and extending, Because what we know as the source is actually, it is not, it is shapeless, it has no beginning, it has no end. It continues to multiply, continue to extend. Look at it. So there is a gate with at every interception, there is a gate. Now, let's go back to what we have here. If we come back to this, look at this. This is the wave conjugation. The wave conjugation. That's what we see here. You see, the earth is in the middle. The earth is in the middle. That's what we see here. Now, this is the dome of earth. The dome suggests that there is nothing that penetrates. It is a solid matter. So, how do people go out of space? How do people claim they go out of space? Now, the moon is, beneath the dome. The moon is beneath the dome. And the moon is actually local. So if the moon is a solid matter, they might go to the moon. And where is the moon? Where is the moon? And now, another thing that actually makes it impossible for me to believe that the moon, people visited it, is actually the moon, they say, spun more than 3,000 kilometers per hour. More than 3,000 kilometers per hour. How did they stop it to jump in? Except everything they are telling us is the lie. So look at the moon, the dark side of the moon and the light side of the moon. Look at it. Look at the sun here. The sun is not really, local, but it is closer to the ice wall. Close to the ice wall. Look at it. The sun is a bit further away from us. The moon is close to us. So the sun is servicing not only our planet, it's servicing the other planet, because every other planet have their own moon. Now, we will talk about this tomorrow. The reason why I will throw more light to it tomorrow. The reason why we went there is those who came from heaven to earth. That's what they are called. And according to the story, they came from heaven to earth. The Marduk, which is this one, the Marduk, the bad guy amongst them, which is this one, Marduk, is this one who brought, of course, this talk about technology, spirituality. You see, the Vatican, they have these people, they started every satanism and wickedness. If I don't know, let's not talk about satanism. They started everything wickedness and malevolent in this world. Vatican, because of their, after the Council of Nicaea, they are the ones who created Islam. They created Islam the Vatican created Islam. They also created Christianity. So these guys, look at that, technology and spirituality. They gave us technology that harms us, that suppresses our consciousness, that destroys our body, that shortens our lives. That's what they gave us. That's it. Now, the bone of contention, these are the figures of the Anunnaki, which was, existed. Those are the people who are, they caused the flood, the deluge. But this one, according to the story, was the one who actually, American girl, Are you inviting me or are you actually trying to match the? I think you are trying to match. If you send a request to join, I could actually, I will actually accept you, but don't try to. I'm not joining any program. So now, this is actually the one who actually tried to, who gave the Noah the instruction on how to build the ship that sustained Noah during the time of great deluge, which is the flood. Now, this and this person, these two people, this one was the malevolent, he hates humanity according to the story. But where we are focusing on right now is those who came from heaven to earth. How did they came from heaven to earth? Because if the firmament is the dome, that means there is another way which they came from to earth. And they continue to make us believe they flew down from heaven, from up there to earth, which suggests that Antarctica still have a gate, which suggests that Bermuda Triangle could be a gate. So all these mysterious places could be a gate to off planet. They are mysterious. Of course, when you talk about Bermuda Triangle, it is when the compass actually malfunctions there, because it's a gate to oblivion. So that suggests that there is the forces outside the realm is operating within that axis, because the gate is there and the gate is open. So, and the gate is open. Well, yes, we are choosing, but by force. Yeah, we are being governed by galactic law. Yes. What about the Big Bang Theory? The Big Bang Theory is just a crazy theory, Just think about it. I'm not disputing, but think about the Big Bang Theory. We came from a microorganism, and why is this microorganism not bringing more of us? Why did it stop bringing more of us? That's my question to the Big Bang Theory and all that. So, what I know is that if the firmament is a dome, that means they are not leaving Earth through up there. The missile or the rocket launching is actually to make us so stupid. It's part of the indoctrination, so that we don't see any way, or I don't know, but I believe they are not living through the firmament, because if the origin of mechanics, which is this, and the first analog computer to, that actually explain and analyze our planet system and calculate our time, and it is suggest that 365 of our year is actually wrong. This suggests that as well. This is called Antikythera. So if this, because okay, let's actually go beyond this. Let me try to show you, because this actually explains and analyze itself. It explained and analyzed itself. Let's touch on that for like 5 minutes, then we call it. We will actually go plan for another day. So if this Let's try to read about it a little bit, because he gave its own instruction. That's something that is very, much good about it. He gave its own instruction. And its own instruction contradicts everything that we've been told. And this is actually rediscovered right now beneath the ocean at the wreckage of a ship beneath the ocean. It was rediscovered at the wreckage of a ship. So let us I'm trying to find the instruction of this first analog computer. Because the older it is, the more accurate it will be. When I was growing up, we used to know that the devil lives beneath us, beneath the ground. And now I discovered that it is the truth. It is the truth. There is even a song that we used to sing. We say we will use our foot to match the devil on the ground. So that's exactly what we are seeing today. They are beneath us. So let's come back to it. This is about the device. This is about the device. But I'm going to a particular place where it's going to be more helpful to us, which is here. Now, let's read. Let's read quickly about this device. It says, computer model of the Cosmos display. This is the computer model of the Cosmos display. And I showed you this, how you can understand it within the Milky Way. Now, in the center, the dome of the Earth. The dome of the Earth. So, if we understand what is the dome, you may know that it is not you cannot penetrate. The face of the moon. So, when they talk about the dome of the Earth, we see the dome of the Earth, the face of the moon. The dome, the face of the moon. Now, we go back. The face of the moon and its position in the zodiac. Then rings for Mercury, Venus, true sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Date. So they recognize those planets that are closer to Earth. And according to today's theory, the closest planets to Earth is Mars, and I think Mars and Venus, which I can agree, because Mars is where this guy came from. From Mars is where this guy came from. It was banished there. Marduk came from Mars, because according to the ancient Sumerian text, it talks about Marduk, the bad guy who tried to build, who bit off the penis of his opposition on the fight to who will be the king, who will rule over their Nibiru. So he was banished to Mars. So, and he started eventually, kidnapping Earthlings, the women, and started making different races. So that's why, when I talk about people, organizing themselves in their race. It's important because humans race has been polluted somehow. So now but it is a bitter truth that people might not want to hear. So let's go back to it. So it recognized this planet, Saturn, and the date. So this is how the ancient people used to know their date. Now we say with lithosphere, markers and small markers for opposition, scale marks and index letters from the synodic cycles of the synodic cycle of the planet are inscribed on the planet rings. Surrounding these, the zodiac and the Egyptian calendar. Surrounding these, the zodiac and the Egyptian calendar, which is what you see within this area. Now, Egyptian calendar will go here. The true sun ring has a little golden sphere. Now, let's show you the true sun. A little golden sphere. We see the true sun before you see it. This is the true sun. You see the little golden sphere. That is the true sun. So let's go back to reading. The true sun has a little golden sphere with a pointer. You saw the pointer, which after the golden sphere, you saw the pointer as described in BCI. When the moon and the sun pointers coincide, the moon's sphere shows black for the moon. The moon's sphere shows black for the moon. Remember, I showed you you see the black part of the moon, the dark side of the moon. You see the light side of the moon. Now let's go back to it. So when two of them coincide, the moon shows black for new moon. When the pointers on the opposite sides, the moon's sphere shows white for full moon. So there is difference between new moon and full moon. When they coincide with the sun, when moon coincide with the sun, it shows the black part of the moon, and it signifies the new moon. When it shows the light part of the moon, that's where it shows the full moon. The head of the dragon hand shows the ascending lunar node, which the head of the dragon hand is what we see here. The head of the dragon hand is what we see here. Look at it. You see it. Now we go back. So, when the moon and the sun pointer coincide, the moon's sphere shows black for the new moon. When the pointers are on the opposite sides, the moon's sphere shows white for full moon. The head of the dragon hand shows the ascending lunar node. The tail, the descending node, which is the tail of the dragon, is the opposite direction on the other side of the head of the dragon, which is here. This is the tail of the dragon here. The tail of the dragon is here. So now it says, it shows the tail is the descending node. Small triangle on the true sun ring, which is you see when you see that golden sphere, there is the pointer there, which is what they call the small triangle on the sun. Near the pointer shows wider and narrow eclipse limit. Eclipses are possible if the dragon hand is within this limit when the moon pointer is before the head of the dragon, the moon is south of the node, after it is north of the node. That's why you see what I said, that what we had is actually the North Pole and the South Pole. East and the West is actually invented. It is not part of it. East and West is actually, breaking in details so that maybe so it makes easier for you to navigate. But the North and the South is actually the cardinal points that we have. So that's why it talks about the north and the south. After it is the north and the, so conversely, for the descending node, a date pointer is attached to a narrow date ring showing the date in the Egyptian calendar. So this is exactly what we are talking about. Look at it properly. The moon, the light side of the moon, the black side of the moon, the earth dome, the dragon tail, the dragon head, the true sun, and the triangle, the calendar, Egyptian calendar, and now the time, just like it has calendar, the earth time is also, they use it to calculate the earth time, because if we want to actually show this, let's see the body or the behind this. Otherwise, we are going to show the rest of it tomorrow. But what we're talking about right now is that our earth firmament is a dome that I believe, according to this first analog computer and the origin of mechanics that you just saw right now, suggests that it is a dome, and a dome is impenetrable. So if you can pass through it, how then? Because up there you see, is it oxygen and gas? So, and it is actually solid. It is solid. That's why you see from the pole, you see the ice wall. You see the ice, so it is solid. So I don't know what will break through this ice wall just easily. So, but at the end of the day, if you look into the Bible text, you'll see where it says that heaven, earth is my footstool. Heaven is my throne, and earth is my footstool. So that means no one will pass through there, because the highest authority is possibly above there, which is the reason why that place is darkness, is oblivion. Out of space is darkness. So every planet is within our planet. It is just, if you go through the gate of the ice wall, you get into another planet. From there, if you get to their end, you go through their gate, you get to another planet, which is what all these things suggest. I don't believe that there is something people go out of space to see. So this is exactly the reason why I said that every false information was given to us. False information was given to us, and we cannot. And they told us the earth was spinning, but you saw the handle. If the earth was spinning, those things will not have handles. Just like your clock, your wall clock. Just like your wall clock today, it will not be. It's supposed to be the body of the clock spinning, not the handle that is spinning. So the earth is not spinning. So according to their theory, they say that we get different weather or different season because of the spinning of the earth, which is a lie. Because if we get different season because of the spinning of earth, there are all the places supposed to have winter, because not every place have winter in planet earth. Winter is mostly within the north. People who live in the north and people who live in the south get winter. So where is the east? Why is the people who live within the east? Because there are no east, there is no west. So now why are they not spinning towards that area that is cold? Because if earth is spinning, every area is supposed to get their own weather the same way. They're supposed to be in different, probably different time. So they say that the earth is spinning. That's why we get different weather. But what is spinning within the earth is actually those moon and the sun. And it is powered by electricity. And then you find out that the earth is basically an island, which ocean is surrounded by the North Ocean, South Ocean, and others. It is an ocean that's actually creating those waves they see within their Milky Way, because earth is round. Those waves is the ocean that is actually, moving around our earth, giving our earth different, things that they must have. So there is a lot of contradiction to what we've been given through, even in our geography. There is a lot of, contradictions there. In our mathematics, there is a lot of contradictions there, and no one is going to, if you rise up to challenge the traditional way, you will be shut down one way or the other, because you must be indoctrinated and you must never know the truth. That's the way it is. So I think this is where we're going to leave it. Let me check the comments and see what someone said. The earth is spinning. Show me a proof that the earth is spinning. Go out of space where you normally go and bring me a raw video, not the computer generated or 5D generated video. Just show me a proof that the earth is spinning, because according to what I showed you now, the origin of analog computer and the origin of mechanics, it doesn't suggest that the earth is spinning. It suggests that everything that is actually the gadgets of earth is the one spinning, and not the earth. Is your clock, wall clock, is your body of the clock spinning? The body of the clock does not spin. What spins is the tiny little pin in the middle of the equator that powers those clock hands. Those are the things that spin. So just go out of space, just like the way they told us they go. They should be able to be there and make a live video, because they have a satellite there. So they make a live video and show us how our earth is spinning, and we cannot ever feel it. So that's what Gio say. Gio say, why does it take 1 year for us to have a birthday? Okay, then the thing that makes us to have a birthday is when you think about, in the absence of the moon, in the absence of the sun, everything is darkness, right? Everything is darkness. So the moon rises at its own time. The sun rises at its own time. How can the moon be spinning, and how can the earth be spinning, and the moon is also spinning, and the sun is spinning? All of them are spinning, but they are accurate and they give their own services at the same time. It doesn't make sense. So the gadget can spin, but the body stays put. In my own theory and understanding, the gadget can spin, the body remain put. Gio, I don't need you to tell me that I'm lost. You I might be lost there, but make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me. Because I know the ocean that is surrounded Earth is spinning, is actually moving. The ocean moves in waves. So, and that's exactly what they pick up in the Milky Way, the ocean. So, if you are telling me that the Earth is spinning, why is the plane, right? Okay, you are also those who believe that the Earth is like a globe, like round, right? I believe that you will also believe that the Earth is like round. You will believe that the Earth is like round, right? It's not a flat plane in your own dictionary, because if you say the Earth is spinning, it will mean that you also believe in the fallacy of the Earth being a globe, right? Is it what you suggest? Because the typical example of what we have here is in your wall clock. It's in your wall clock. The body does not spin. The hand spin. So look at this. In this this is the technology. This is the technology that actually started with this time telling. Look at the moon, it has its own hand. Look at the sun, it has its own hand. Now, they are all spinning, not the body. Look at other planets. Look at other planets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, this planet, this thing spin around it. How can it make sense to me that this is spinning, the hands are spinning, everything spins? How does it make sense? Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. Why then do we have these hands coming from something that spins, which means whoever that is seeing what they are seeing, they don't know what they see spinning. I don't want you to continue to believe in the traditional way. It is indoctrination. It is indoctrination. The sun, in the absence of the moon and the sun, everything is darkness. So when the moon rise, the sun rise, we count it like that. We count the days with the moon and the sun, right? That's what we count the days with. It doesn't change. It is the same thing. We do the same thing every day. When the sun rises, and we call it the morning. When the sunset, we call it new day, which is supposed to be like that. We call it new day when the sun sets. Because there is nothing like daytime and nighttime. It is illusion. In the absence of the moon and the sun, it remains dark. So, I am going to leave it here. We are coming back to it tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we are going to focus on this one. And then maybe if Gio is around, Gio will tell us better his own understanding of the traditional way of telling us, a traditional way of informing us of what it is. So we will know better. But as long as the body of your clock does not spin, it is the hand of the clock that spins. The earth is not spinning. It is common sense that is right in front of us, because most of the time the knowledge and the truth we are looking for is actually going to be within your surrounding, but you cannot figure it out. So guys, we are going to call it a day. Thank you for joining us, Gio. Thank you for joining us. Mary Malibe, thank you for joining us today. Miss J, you've been very, active. Thank you for joining us. and every other person who has been here confused. Thank you for joining us. If you join us more, you will learn more. And of course, the Black Art. Is it Black Art? You guys are quite having a conversation, but I don't wish to cut off your conversations, but we'll have to, you know, set it for another day. Thank you guys, and bye for now. We'll continue tomorrow, and we're going to do it earlier tomorrow so that we will cover, more time. Bye, guys.